this computer. All right, guys, so thanks everybody for coming. And also thank you all for your messages today. Like, you guys have been great. I swear I got more messages today saying happy launch day than I did for my birthday last week. It was totally insane and overwhelming, and just full of gratitude. And thank you guys for everybody who's already went out and bought the book. It is available, and I was told that it's already sold out on Barnes & Noble. So that's pretty cool. Amazon should be print on demand, so there should be unlimited copies there, but that was very exciting to hear. It's funny, everybody has been saying, oh, you must be so excited, and definitely excitement, yes. I can say Saturday when I was getting the audiobook up, it was like I was jittery and just like wanting to jump out of my skin and run down the street like yelling and celebrating, and that was Saturday. Last week, oh my gosh, it was not that at all. It was fear, like you could not imagine, like self-sabotage hitting, just like fear of failure, fear of success, fear of rejection, like just every emotion there on the fear cycle was hitting me from the time where I knew it went to distribution. And that passed on Friday when I saw that it was on Amazon. So it actually went onto Amazon on Friday as just a Kindle. And so I was crossing my fingers, and I wasn't actually worried about it because I had this feeling it was going to be up on time. But I really, there's that part of me thinking it's not going to be ready for Tuesday, and I'm going to be launching this to a Kindle book, which is great. But at the same time, when you think of the investment that I've put into the book financially, the Kindle doesn't give me very much return on that. So Amazon does take a huge cut. It's insane how much of the cut that the companies pull from you. So Saturday it was super excitement. Sunday I kind of mellowed out a little bit, and yesterday when I was getting everything ready, it went back into like super excitement. And today it was honestly, there was more just nerves and jitteriness, and it was hilarious. I didn't actually think I was going to be here tonight. I thought you guys were all going to join, and it wasn't going to be me. I would have like set Michelle up because Michelle and Miranda, I don't know if Miranda's on, and my friend Tabitha, they, along with the other editors, all really helped me with the book. So I'm like, well, Michelle can answer all the questions, right? I'll get her up here. So thank you, ladies, for all your help. Couldn't have done it without you, especially Michelle. All the times I message you about it, keeps me really grounded. But yeah, the internet all over my town went down, and it kept going down and kept going down. It would come back and go down. And I called, and they're like, we don't have an estimated time of when it's going to be repaired. I'm like, okay. And it was just super still calmness about that, but I was still having some nervousness about this. Now I'm fine. Now that I've gotten started, I was fine, and I really kept present up until it, just answering emails. That's what I was doing when everybody was logging in, and I didn't know anybody was in there, and I was probably like really close to the computer. You could probably see up my nose. So that's too funny. But it has been a journey, and it's going to be such a relief. I'm just going to take like the entire day off tomorrow, go to the barn. I've barely been to the barn in the past week, just spend some time with the horses. I started writing this book last January. January 1st, it was like my New Year's resolution. I'm going to write a book. And I got started. I was actually writing part 1, body, which I didn't know it was going to be called that or anything. But I started writing my coaching, how I do my coaching, how I do my program down into the book. And it just literally, it flowed. And I had 30,000 words in like 3 weeks. And I got hit with massive self-sabotage, like just fear of nobody's going to read this. I'm not a doctor, and I need to go and get my doctorate. So I stopped writing it and started looking into getting my doctorate. It was actually quite funny. And I just felt so sick, even thinking about going back to school. Like the whole word doctorate and indoctrination, one school of thought just doesn't go well with me. Like I did 7 years post-secondary school, and actually 2 if you want to add my summer schools that I did. And I just couldn't think about it. So I'm just like, this is not where I need to be. And I'm just not going to write a book. And then the universe broke it down for me very nicely into these really small steps. The universe is like, wow, she just needs some hand holding. Let's make it really easy for her. And so when I was up with Kaden in the night, I was doing this meditation, and I'm like, oh, I should put this on YouTube. And I have some like meditations on YouTube, and it's not a big deal. And then through the night, the idea came, well, why don't you make your meditations into an audiobook? Like, oh, I can do that. And so that's what I did. Like the coronavirus hit, Eric was home, he couldn't work, and I literally wrote every day, almost all day for 2 weeks, and I had 30,000 words written, and I had this book on meditation, and I sent it for editing, and the editor's like, it's too short. I'm like, that's a booklet. Nobody's going to publish this. It's not going to go anywhere. And I'm like, oh, okay. And the idea came to me, again, I don't get a lot of sleep with Caden. He has never been a good sleeper. So the idea came to me, and I'm like, oh, I'll make a mindset and meditation book. It's gonna be great. So I started writing this meditation book and mindset book, and I was taking everything that I've learned in the past 5 years, and you know me from my talks that or coaching calls, if you're working with me, that I love mindset work and mindset training, everything to do with personal growth and emotional healing and spirituality. It's just such a high for me. It's a passion to learn these things. And so everything that I've learned going through Jack Canfield's course, working with others, spiritual teachers, the work with Byron Katie and Eckhart Tolle, Wayne Dyer, I'm like, I'm going to take this and I'm going to create a mindset book. It's going to be mindset and meditation. So it just flowed, and the words just kept coming, and it got to 60,000 words. And I'm like, oh, that's too short still. And then my little voice in my head is, well, you do have those other 30,000 words. I'm like, I do, but I don't want to publish that. Like, you know, I don't want to go into that. That's scary stuff. Like my ego is just terrified and timid and hiding in a corner saying, no, don't put that out to the world. And luckily I already had 60,000 words, and there was no stopping me now. Like, you don't spend that much time. That's what I mean by the universe bringing it down into little steps, that I wasn't going to not finish. So everything got combined, and somehow that turned out to be like 115,000 words total, narrowed it down to 101. And the book was finished at my goal. I still met my goal of December 31st, 2020. I finished the book. A week later, I sent it to for editing. And the past 7 months has been rereading, editing, like editor reading it, me reading it, sending it back to an editor, like over and over, multiple editors. I went through 6 editors. It was something else. And then the whole design process and catching everything. And it's hilarious that it was ready to go for distribution on August 3rd. And that was the day I wanted it to be there. So I would have a copy of it in hand for this book launch. But I set the date for the book launch, and then I was doing up the PDF for the audiobook, and I noticed a big mistake in the labeling of the appendix. It was actually labeled part 3, spirit, when it's supposed to be appendix. And so I had to send it back to the editing process, and that took another week. So it literally went to distribution last Thursday. And just, it was just sitting back and being in a state of allowance that it's all going to work out and the book would be here. The book isn't here, but it's on the wall. You know, that's as good. At least my poster came in. And it just all fell into place, and it's amazing. Last week was really fun, sitting in that fear, and it's all about feeling the emotions. And I purposely barely took any of my neurotransmitter support last week just to feel that and to be with that and to sit through it. Because at the end of the day, when you're facing a big fear, there is no amount of mindset work you can do. You eventually do have to face it. You just have to go through it, and you have to feel it. And I really think we're here to experience all of the emotions, not just the good ones. So it was such a great feeling, because I really sat in a state of meditation and just observing all those feelings happening. And it was really cool. And the excitement Saturday was, wow, I felt like a kid at Christmas or going to Disneyland. Like I was so excited. So everybody who's been messaging me, you must be so excited. I'm like sending them multiple emojis of how I actually feel. It's not just the excitement. The excitement's like this little part, and then there's all these emotions. Yeah, so that's the process of writing the book. If anybody decides to write a book, the secret is to stay present, even though it kind of little bit, messed me up a little bit with the fact that I thought I could upload the audiobook at the exact same time as the distribution, and it's actually 10 days delayed for the audiobook after it gets onto Amazon, and I did not know that until last week. So the audiobook is a little bit delayed, but you just have to stay present and go one step at a time. Sit and write every day. Don't look at what you're writing, just write. Even if you're writing gibberish, just write and write and write. And eventually it comes together, right? And if you're in that state of allowance and peace, honestly, you just get into this connection and the words just flow. Like when I read the book, which I've read a lot of times, sometimes I'm like, wow, how did I didn't write this. Like, I don't even know where this came from. And it was just a very amazing experience. It was very humbling experience. It was in itself a great mindset teacher, just learning to stay even more present, not getting frustrated with interruptions, and just being able to not get too carried away with it and write all day. When the words would come, just allow myself to stop and then start that flow again. Haven't really felt any of that since I stopped writing, which is okay. Like I told Bobby earlier, I have no plans on doing this again anytime soon. But maybe when Caden's older, some other idea will come to me. And I talk about this with the sleep mindset a lot too, because a lot of people can't sleep. If you are open to not sleeping and okay with not sleeping, that's the time you have your biggest ideas, your biggest revelations, your biggest spiritual growth. Tap into that time. Like, it's totally amazing. All right. So Sharon said, congratulations. Thank you, Sharon. And Michelle said, it was an absolute pleasure. I love you too. Now, next up, so I'm going to read a little chapter after I take a drink, because I just talked for like 15 minutes straight. So I'm going to read a chapter, then we're going to head over and we're going to do a Q&A. Well, we're not going to head over anywhere. We'll do the Q&A. I want to announce the contest, which is I'm going to put a lot of detail online tomorrow, but I want to announce it here. Then we'll pick the winner. So somebody's going to win either a paperback or a hardcover signed copy, and I will send that to you. I don't have my glasses on. Okay, so I'm going to find the chapter. So I'm going to actually read the introduction just and how to read this book, just because if you guys have any questions on it, then we can talk about it. So why a whole body approach is needed to heal. In modern allopathic medicine, we find doctors specializing in only one area of the body or a single aspect of health, such as endocrinologists, immunologists, gynecologists, rheumatologists, and so on. Each area of the body is isolated as though they are not connected. When I first started coaching, my business coach, Daria, emphasized the importance of finding a niche. Even in the functional and holistic world, there are niches. Practitioners specialize in hormones, adrenals, candida, Lyme disease, and so forth. Just like in allopathic medicine, many holistic practitioners tend to focus only on treating one area of the body as though nothing is connected. I thought long and hard on what my niche would be. Due to my own experience healing from chronic illness, I was unable to pick one. I knew that regardless of what symptoms or diseases are present, the entire body, mind, and spirit must be addressed as a whole because everything is connected. As you will see below, each system is important and none can be left out. The brain is the master organ. If it isn't balanced, nothing else will be. Sadly, the brain is left out by most practitioners. Most are not trained in balancing neurotransmitters. Few understand the genetics behind the enzymatic processes in the brain and how to analyze test results, nor have they heard of amino acid therapy to balance neurotransmitters. Amino acid therapy was my first step to healing as I was getting off Effexor, an antidepressant. It was my catalyst. In working with hundreds of clients, I've seen balancing neurotransmitters to be the missing link, which is why we'll spend a lot of time discussing it. General nutrient deficiencies need to be addressed right from the get-go, as do mitochondria, our energy production centers. If our bodies are not able to efficiently produce energy, healing will be at a standstill. Any stressor on the body depletes nutrients. Deficiencies then lead to dysfunction and imbalances, which cause the body to no longer be able to cope with stress. It becomes a vicious cycle. We interrupt the cycle by removing the stress and giving the body the tools that it needs in order to heal itself. The foundation tests I use in my program will show what the body needs for both of these areas. Detoxification pathways are the next most important part of healing. New discoveries in genetics show us how our enzymes of detoxification are impacted by our genes. Since delving into the world of genetics, my success rate and the time it takes me to help people see results have improved dramatically. Being able to customize our supplements based on our genes is an amazing scientific discovery. Milk thistle, turmeric, methyl donors, and so many other supplements are not beneficial to everyone. These popular supplements can actually do more harm than good. Many health-minded people claim they're working on their detoxification pathways, but in reality, without testing, they're throwing paint at the wall and hoping it will stick. Many practitioners place a big emphasis on treating adrenals and sex hormones whenever a client complains of fatigue. While adrenals and sex hormones do play a role in energy levels, the saliva panel many practitioners are still using to test them is outdated. I have found that imbalances and deficiencies in adrenals and sex hormones tend to be due to dysfunction in other systems such as detoxification pathways, deficiencies, mitochondria, and neurotransmitters. Since adrenal function is impacted by chronic stress, fear, and depression, I prefer to address mindset and get foundational support on board before testing adrenals and hormones. This gives the body enough time to rebalance hormones and adrenals itself with the tools we give it. The thyroid is another area I see people concentrate on with limited success. Many doctors have not even heard of the reverse T3 test. In some countries, the test is not even available. As you will see in the thyroid section, you cannot see a true picture of what is going on without this test. Thyroid dysfunction is a result of other dysfunctions in the body. I tested early on using a full blood panel, but as with sex hormones and adrenals, I prefer to support other systems first. Healing the gut and detoxifying from heavy metals are done last in my program because through experience, I have found gut work to be unsuccessful in most people until the rebalancing and rebuilding steps are in place. The mind needs to be in a calm state with little stress for gut work to be successful. When the stress response is chronically active, the immune response is suppressed and it is difficult to eliminate pathogens. We need the body on board to help us remove the pathogens. Detoxification pathways must be functioning well, otherwise killing pathogens will create a toxic burden that is too much for the body to handle, and the person will end up having to stop. The stress itself on the body would make it unsuccessful, even if they were able to complete the protocol. Diet is another factor to increase the chances of clearing pathogens. I have found that in order for the gut work to be successful, eating 90% whole food diet is necessary. Many practitioners make clients go on a strict diet right away. This is rarely successful because people feel isolated and deprived. They become depressed. Then at some point, they end up with feelings of shame when they binge on unhealthy foods due to intense cravings. Having time to slowly transition to a balanced diet is ideal, and my program allows for the time before gut work to make this transition while we rebuild and rebalance the body. Most people believe their gut or pathogens like Candida or Lyme are causing their symptoms. I have found it is actually the imbalances and deficiencies in the body and issues with detoxification pathways causing these issues. Once these are addressed, the symptoms go away, enabling us to easily clear up the root causes. The root causes are the overall body burden, stress, toxins, pathogens, and metals. It ends up looking like the chicken and the egg paradox. Which came first? I believe stress causes dysfunction, which leads to symptoms and disease. Most practitioners try to kill the pathogens or remove the toxins by force, which often results in the person becoming sicker. Their body is unable to handle any more stress. I turn the process around and work with the body so that it can heal. I remove the emotional stress, reduce toxin exposure, run tests to identify imbalances and deficiencies, aid the body in repairing detoxification, and then when it is ready, assist in removing pathogens and metals. First, I clear parasites, protozoa, and biofilm. Then I address bacteria in the large intestine. After that, SIBO and yeast are eliminated if present. Last, if needed, I address any systemic pathogens. During gut work, gentle binders are used to clear metals. The body wants to be healthy. It just needs the tools and the time to heal. Here's an overview of my healing program for the average person. Some people with certain genetic mutations require another round of blood work before phase 2 to ensure detoxification pathways are functioning. They also may need further testing. These are more complex cases, and I have focused on the basics of the program in this book. It is truly a whole body, mind, and spirit approach. So phase 1 is rebuild, rebalance, and repair. So we start with nutrition by slowly moving to a 90% whole food diet. We begin mindset, training, and meditation. We order our organic acids test, genetic testing, and blood work testing. We rebalance neurotransmitters, support mitochondria and the thyroid, address nutrient deficiencies, repair detoxification pathways, order the Dutch test, and support adrenals and hormones, and then rerun blood work or further testing if needed. Phase 2 is remove the stress, order the gut tests, address parasites, protozoa, and biofilm, begin safe and gentle heavy metal detoxification, retest to ensure success, and address bacterial dysbiosis, address SIBO, yeast, and other systemic pathogens. How to read this book. So this book is divided into 3 parts and covers my entire healing program. Part 1 focuses on the body and goes over testing, science, and supplements. Part 2 focuses on the mind and is all about mindset training, learning to be aware of one's thoughts and noticing how they're affecting the body. Bringing peace to the mind is vital when trying to heal from chronic illness. Here I share tools I have discovered throughout my journey that you will need in order to shift to a peaceful healing state. Part 2 also covers how to achieve success in health, relationships, and finances. Part 3 focuses on spirit and is all about meditation and how to find your passion and purpose. 2/3 of the book are about mindset and meditation because it is equally, if not more, important to healing than the science of the body. I believe by the time you finish this book, you will agree with me. The best way to read this book is to start with part 1, body. Ideally, order the 3 foundation tests when you get to that section. While waiting for test results, work on changing your diet to a balanced whole food diet. Instructions for this are in the nutrition section. Finish reading part 1, body, in order to understand the full process. Then move to part 2, mind. Once you get to self-care and self-management section, take some time to apply the tips there. Then read a bit of part 2, mind each week while starting on the meditations in part 3, spirit. Once you receive your test results, use the corresponding sections in the appendix to assist in analysis. The test analysis sections are science-based. If you find the information too overwhelming, find a knowledgeable practitioner to help you design your protocols. Continue working on part 2, mind, and part 3, spirit while implementing supplements from your test results. Then finish rereading and moving through part 1, body, as you complete each step. So that is the first 2 little chapters in the introduction. I've got to find my Zoom webinar. So I am hoping that you guys really enjoy it. And the mindset section and the part 3, spirit, it's funny because those were the easiest for me to write. And now with everything that, like, I literally put my heart and my soul and all my beliefs into those sections, like those 2 parts of the book. And now for me, those ones are actually the ones where I'm like a little bit more leery of it, because not only are people that are into these kind of things, like into the mindset work and gonna read it, a lot of people are gonna read it, like friends and family are gonna read it, that are gonna see a very, very personal side of me. This is not things that I just randomly talk about to anybody. So it's funny how that was the easier section to write. And now it's the section that I'm like, oh, I've got to get really comfortable with a lot of people knowing all of everything about me. It was different when it was just in my mindset course and only my clients had access to it, but it's definitely been an amazing process. Yeah, those were the emotions that I sent you for sure. Okay, so if you guys have any questions for me, let's go into them. It can be about the book, it can be about coaching or whatever. You can just type them into the chat. You can actually do talking too, if you want to say your questions like on it. I don't know how to show you on this. I'm not that technically well versed in this, but I'm not seeing that. But I can allow people, oh, more. No, that's it. I can promote people to panelists, but I don't know what that's going to do. So yeah, if you guys have any questions, stick it in the chat. I did have a couple questions come in through email from people who weren't going to be here. So while you guys are writing your questions in the chat, I will answer that. So let me just find where I put them. Okay, so what inspired you to write this book? Um, Definitely for me, it was just wanting to help more people. I can only work with so many people at a time. I can only do so many test analysis. I've had to stop doing pay-as-you-go coaching just because of the number of people wanting me to analyze their tests for them. It just wasn't possible to keep up with that number of people. So the main reason for writing this book was just to help more people. And it also, like I said in the beginning, it was almost as though I didn't have a choice in writing it. Like the ideas literally just flowed, and it's like I had to write them. It's almost like something was coming over me, and I just had to write. And I don't have that urge anymore to write. For most people who know me, I don't enjoy writing. Like I don't write blogs. I don't do any of that because it doesn't come out. Like I can sit there and it doesn't come. But for this, it was like everything just came and I had to write it down. So definitely wanted to help more people, but it was really an overwhelming urge. And it's funny, it's as though my soul has always known that it was going to write this book, because when I was a kid, I have vivid memories. I remember this table we had, it had like wood around the sides, and then the middle was made out of ceramic tile. And I must have been like 6 or 7 years old, sitting at the table trying to write a book. And I wanted so badly to write a book. And of course, like I was a kid, I wasn't gonna get anything out. But the same thing happened in university where I wanted to write, and I had all these ideas for fiction novels, but when I would sit down and write, I couldn't get, like I had a plot, but I couldn't actually write anything. And like the manuscript just wouldn't come out. Ideas are there, they're still there. I still have all these ideas for fiction novels based on all of these dreams that I've had, but I couldn't get anything out. And then it was just amazing feeling to just sit and write, sometimes for hours at a time, just write and write and write, and the words would pour out. So it was definitely to help more people. And then this need to just get these words that finally decided to come out onto paper. And thankfully I can type really fast now, because it was just pouring out. And if I didn't catch it, then it would go. But luckily I came to a place of peace, knowing that it would come back if I just stayed in that peaceful place. Okay, there's some questions. What can I use to get rid of my body? What can I use to rid my body of an acute virus? Foot and mouth disease. So Karen, check out my video on YouTube. It's called how to heal from viruses, or it's viral, bacterial, and something support. It's one of the new ones. If you go on my, if you go to Motivated to Heal on YouTube and you go to videos, you will see it within like the first 3 that's there. So I cover, I do a full bacterial viral protocol in there. How would you encourage those of us who are currently your clients to incorporate this book into our program without you? Also, any plans to make a formal plan to integrate this into the program? So the book is the program. So the book is geared for people who aren't my clients, and it's geared for my clients, the mindset section and the meditation section. So for you, read part 1 body, just for fun. We're doing that. You don't have to. You can read the appendix too. You can try to understand, if you want to, some of the genetics, the science behind your tests, how to interpret the tests if you want to. That's totally optional. But when you are my clients, I'm doing part 1 body, I'm doing the appendix. You don't have to think about that. Just for basic knowledge on your part. If you want to look into that, then great, look at those 2 sections. You want to focus on part 2 mind and part 3 spirit. Like that is literally my mindset program, but way more intense. Like I put so much more into this book than even in the mindset program. I'm actually going to be adding to the mindset program, not now, just because there's so much stuff on my list of things to do right now. But my goal, probably around Christmas, I tend to get a lot done around Christmas, is going to be to really expand on the mindset program to make it even bigger than what the book is. But right now, that's where your focus really needs to be, on the mindset, part 2 mind and part 3 spirit. And I'm like I said, the book is my program, and what my plans in the future for probably mid next year is going to be to create a practitioner program based on the book. So it's going to be helping other practitioners or people who want to be practitioners have the training and the understanding to understand the test. So the appendix goes over how to analyze it. The course that I'm going to be doing for practitioners is going to be, we're going to be going over like 1 to 2 tests every week or 2, and we're going to cover probably like 4 or 5 oats analysis, and then it's going to be for people who have clients who need help running those oats tests, getting experience analyzing oats genetics, Dutch, gut work, building their protocols, so that there's more people doing what I'm doing than just me. And there definitely are a lot of practitioners, but I find lacking, especially in the practitioners, is more so a really holistic approach where the bodies and like totally the body, the mind, and the spirit are addressed. But even as the body, there's so many practitioners just focusing on candida, or just focusing on Lyme, really leaving out genetics, not hitting the detox pathways, not hitting the brain. So this is going to be a program to help train more people to be doing this kind of stuff. Why? I don't know why it's not showing me who that is. Oh, Yvonne says, my son is like that. I believe he has at least 1 book in him. I think we all do. I really do. Like, we're all capable of writing. We just have to really, like, I had to get into a place where I could listen, right, and be really present and hear, because we're all tapped into that source energy. We all have a connection with that anytime. How did you incorporate all the videos, including the meditations you have done for us in the program in this book? It must be 1,000 pages. It's Sandra. It's 292 pages, and there are 10 meditations in the book, I believe. So way more than what's in the mindset program. And the audiobook is really great because the pauses are there. So even if you do have the paperback, if you want to listen to the audiobook for the meditation especially, and Cassandra did a really beautiful job with it. She's an amazing narrator. So super, super exciting for that to come out. Like, I'm actually waiting for that to come out. I have everything now, so I can technically put it on my phone, but I love having it on Audible. But I'm very, very excited for the audiobook to come out. Judith says, Sandy, it just sounds terrific. How specific do you get with content that we already have if we're your clients? Some of the content as specific as what in modules. Yeah, so I pretty well already answered that. The gallbladder flush is not in the book just because of copyright issues. I didn't even know if I could include it. It was originally in the book with the coffee enema, gallbladder flush. The intestinal cleanse, everything that's in the course there in the liver flush and everything was in the book, but I reference it in the book, and but I don't provide those instructions in the book. Oh, look at Michelle sharing the video for you. So who is this? Cassie says, would you recommend the practitioner course for those of us who don't want to be a practitioner but want to deeply learn about it? I would just read the appendix then. The practitioner course is going to be a little bit more expensive. It's really, really funny that when you have health coaches or coaches in general, people who are coaches will spend an insane amount of money to learn things, but they'll spend more to learn something than people will spend on their health. So it's one thing that I've noticed, like, people sometimes complain about my prices, And it's like $2,500 right now. It's on sale for $2,000 for the year for my basic package. That's giving you a year of support. I'm doing a lot of work with test analysis. I have paid $3,500 US for a 3-month group program on it was like it wasn't like a holistic coaching part, it was a business coaching part. So $3,500 on that. Like my business coach cost me 13,000 Canadian dollars, so 10,000 US dollars. So I find it very funny. So if you're not wanting to coach, then you're probably not going to invest that kind of money into the coaching program. So the appendix really dives deep into. It has a section on the detox pathways, genetics, the Dutch test, the OATS test, and the blood work. So you're going to have a lot of bases and a lot of knowledge covered there. And I tried to make it as easy to understand as possible. It's still technical, but I did try my very best to make it so that people could understand it. This is, Bobby says, I love it. You will be able to touch and affect so many lives, a positive force in our world. Thank you. And Michelle says, I can't wait for the audiobook. Me neither. And I do have it, but I want it to be on Audible. I keep checking every day and I'm like, why are you checking? They told you they're going to send you an email when it's ready. So just hold your horses. But it's funny because I was checking Amazon too to see when it was available as the paperback. And my clients actually found out and told me that, oh, Sandy, it's available. I'm like, yay. So I wasn't even the first one to buy my book. You have no idea how excited I am to work with you. My card should be here this week. Awesome. That's Christine. Great. So very excited. I'm excited to get started too. It's always fun. That's the other thing that inspires me to just be a health coach is every time I'm learning things about the body, it's just such a rush, or the mindset stuff is really cool. Very, very exciting, the revelations there. And then every time somebody gets success, it's just so fun. It definitely gives me a big rush and so much bubbly feelings. Who's this? Sandra says, yes, can't wait for the audiobook because it's read by another Cassandra, not Sandra. It's read by Cassandra Campbell. She's actually really top rated audiobook narrator. Still, I don't listen to her on one. I find that is just so slow. Like, why in audiobook land they have to talk so slow? Like, who listens to anything at that pace? So that's why I love audiobooks, is you can turn the person up and you can make them talk faster. I would be a terrible audiobook narrator because you have to talk so slow. And I would just be like, no, this is boring. I can't talk that slow. So yeah, you can turn it up. I normally listen to her on 1.2, 1.3. She's super good, but I still find 1.0 just as ridiculous. And it's so funny with the audiobook. Gosh. So she initially pronounced my name Sandy Gaskin, which I was actually fine with. That's not technically how you say it. It's Sandy Gascon. So I asked them to have her say it as Sandy Gascon. Like, it's a French thing, right? And so she came back with it as, this book is written by Sandy Gascon. I was just like, oh my God. No. So instead of sending it back to her or even getting the audiobook company to do it, I actually opened up Audacity and I like cut and pasted her saying Sandy Gaskin. I think I'm actually going to say my name Sandy Gaskin because I've never loved my last name. Eric doesn't love his last name, but at the end of the day, it was just too late by the time I wrote this book to switch it. So Sandy Gaskin is now my new name and how I'm going to pronounce it. But it was hilarious. Like, she talks normal the entire book, and then all of a sudden, like, there's this French accent, and I'm like, no, it's making me laugh. I can't do this. Kara says, no questions, just want to let you know that you rock. Thank you, Kara. Love you. And Cassie says, all right, I'll stick to the appendix. Who is that? Jessie says, I can't wait to read it. And Cassie says, do you believe that fixing your detox pathways will allow you to deal with an environment with mold without having to move? Yes, once you repair them. Now that's easier said than done. And some people have pretty injured pathways and it can take time. And time is normally what people have issues with. And it's the importance of mindset work, is that you have to learn to accept the time it's going to take. There was a time where I couldn't even walk into a house with mold. I would walk in and I would smell it and I would immediately have symptoms and I would walk out. And now I can go sit in a moldy house and I have no problems. Now, I've been doing this for a long time. And definitely with my program, I've increased the time it takes that people to heal. You don't have to take as long as I did. But at the end of the day, when you have a lot of dysfunction and sensitivity, you have to be realistic about your expectations on the time it is going to take your body to repair. And when you can get into a state of peace and acceptance, and this is a quote from my book, that the ultimate attraction point is being okay with where you are, setting goals for where you want to be, but being okay with it not turning out or happening in its own time. And that is key, really, really key to healing. When you can get into that state of peace, it is an amazing, amazing attraction point. And I didn't talk about this in the book because I was still going through it. And something I learned from Jack Canfield a long time ago is, before you talk about something, you need to have processed it really well. And I talked about it at the time to my clients when I was going through it. But last September, I knew I was writing a book, right? The book was in the process. And I had a bridge done. So I was missing a couple teeth. Pregnancy was a little tough on my body. I hadn't been doing any milk for a long time. I stopped using fluoride, which I've since went back to because I lost so much teeth. So I had lost teeth and I wanted them to be fixed before I got my book out, because I wanted to be able to comfortably be able to do the live streams, which I had already been doing. But with the book coming out, I did want to get it done. And it's much better for your facial structure to have teeth there. It's very important. So I got my 2 bridges done. And so you can see them, they're right there. Those, I used to have these ones missing. So these teeth are bridges. And so I got that done, and I have had really bad neck injuries. So I had my first neck injury when I was 17, and I have repeatedly injured my neck, and no, it hasn't been from horseback riding. Surprisingly, that's one thing I haven't really injured myself doing. But I have these neck injuries, and I do a lot of meditation, and I can sit with a lot of pain. Like, I can really sit in pain, and it's just a sensation for me. And so here I am in this 3-hour procedure on my teeth, and I'm having pretty intense pain in my neck. And I'm just laying there like in meditation land, all like chill. I used to have the hugest fear of dentists, and I'm just like chill. Well, when that freezing wore off, I was in the worst pain in my life, and you shouldn't be in very much pain after having a bridge done. A little bit of Tylenol should clear it up. And I was in the worst pain of my life. And I've been in pain, like lupus, migraines, interstitial cystitis, back labor. I would take back labor over the pain I was in. And it was intense. Both sides of my face felt like they were going to, literally, it felt like somebody was crushing my face. And it was just so important for me to stay present. And I was okay with being in pain. I was okay if I was going to be like that for the rest of my life. I still was visualizing myself being healthy and not having this pain, but I was in acceptance. I was focusing on gratitude for having Caden. I was still writing. I was still working. I wasn't riding at the time just because that was very, very hard for me to do. It took months. Like, I didn't think there was a possibility that I was never going to ride again. But it was such a state of peace, and that this is okay. My soul is okay. My being is okay. I chose to come here. I chose to experience this. I am okay. And still visualizing where I wanted to be, but okay if this was it. Like, I would be okay if I was in this pain for the rest of my life and got to see Caden grow up. So that state of acceptance really let my body stay in a place of healing. It took 3 months before I saw any decrease in my pain levels. And I was supplementing, like, I'm very well supplemented, but it took 3 months for that neck inflammation to go down. And then it took another 1 to 2 months. I still was very limited on what I can eat for many months afterwards, because the nerve was so sensitive that anything touching my teeth, it wasn't just the new teeth, it was all the teeth, because the nerve flared up. And it's amazing how much our neck our vertebrae are connected to the rest of our body. And so when we have injuries there, it affects the rest of the body. But being in that place of healing, because a lot of people, they don't come out of trigeminal neuralgia. Like it's not something that goes away. But I was like, I remember when I saw like trigeminal neuralgia, whenever, you know, most people don't recover from it. And a lot of people have to have their facial nerves burned off and that sort of thing. And it's considered like one of the worst pain that you can experience. And I remember just being like, F you, no, I'm going to figure this out. But at the same time, it's that dichotomy, like I'm going to figure this out and I'm okay with this, like both at the same time. And mindset work is that integrative functioning, that being able to see both sides, being able to be okay with both of them. It's mastering the dichotomies. And it really, when you can get there, and that's where the part 2 mind and part 3 spirit is to help you get to that place of peace on your journey. Okay, so we have some more questions. Chelsea says, is your TikTok coming along? It will be a great way to market your book. It's going to be, that's on my list on Thursday. It was going to be tomorrow, but I want to take the day off. Like literally I've been spending so much time working lately. So I'm going to do a video on Thursday, or maybe the next time I shower. I don't wash my hair all the time because my hair doesn't cooperate. Not that it does cooperate, it's like insane. But this is actually a decent hair day. Like sometimes it's like this big if I shower too often, if I wash it too often. So the next time I shower, I'll do a video. And yes, I'm going to be doing the TikTok and marketing my book. Who's this? So Carolyn says, I've been working with Sandy for the last year and just added a second year worth every penny. Thank you, Carolyn. Yvonne said, you mentioned something you just learned about the mind. Oh, I guess that isn't in the book. Yes, it is French, just like my name. Yes, it is. And I'm French, but I don't speak French or sound French. Try to get me to pronounce a French word. It's actually quite funny. And so, except Gaston, I can say that. I got that name down. Do you mean in the group about the genetics that I was talking about, the DBH mutation? That might have been what you were thinking of. Who is this? Christine says, that's exciting. I have a lot of medical issues. I'm excited. I will switch to that conscious language. I'm excited to work with her. Conscious language is a good chapter too. And it's not conscious language. Geez, Sandy, that's a trademark thing. It's called empowering language. I actually found that mistake. I said conscious language, like that's trademarked. You can't even say that in a book. Who is this? Cassie says, I'm interested in hearing more about your take on fluoride. What are your opinions on interfering with thyroid function, uptake of iodine, and the uptake of iodine? So honestly, I spent $17,000 on my teeth. $17,000 on my teeth in a 1.5 year period. I will take my little bit of fluoride. I have not had a cavity since I added it back in. I've seen some studies where it's very nominal. When you brush your teeth with fluoride and you spit it out, that the effect on the body is very nominal. Now it's more so we actually get a lot of our fluoride from the water. So that's where you want to focus, is making sure your water is clean. Michelle says the state of peace and acceptance is so important to healing. Of course, it is a daily continual mindset to be okay with where you are and what you have that you are grateful for. I try to wow in the now as part of my daily meditation. That's beautiful. Okay, got that. Now, these are weird. Laura says, would you consider training practitioners in your method to help more people as well? Yes, so that's what we're going to be doing. And it's going to be like, the course will be open for people who are not actually practitioners. So I've got to figure out a way to give people a coaching title. And then I will be sharing ways to order your own lab testing and how you can do that without having like a doctorate. Cassie says, oh, I already did that. Okay, for some reason, those questions are showing up in a different place than the other questions. Awesome. So if you guys don't have any more questions, I'm going to go over the contest. So I really do need everybody's help sharing my book online. So I am doing a contest to help out with that. So there's going to be a monthly draw. So you can actually enter and do this every month. You can win tickets. It's almost like if you were going to, try to win the free houses. Like you can buy a bunch of tickets. So instead of this one, you do things and you get tickets. So one of the biggest things that I do need on the book is reviews. Like reviews are what make Amazon and all these other websites really move you up in their ranking. So there is a 50 Amazon review that is like the number to get to. Like once you get to 50 reviews, it's awesome sauce. So the contest is going to be every month you get a chance to win a $500 coaching package. So even if you are my client already, or you can use the services. So you get your choice of 3 services. So if you are my client and you're in the basic package, you're going to be able to use that for extra coaching sessions. You can gift it to somebody, like if you have a family member that you would like to have some testing done on and you don't want to invest in the entire coaching package, then you can choose 3 of those services. So if you're not my client and you're trying to save up for your coaching package, then this is an option to get started. If you could possibly win every month. So the more you help me out, the more chances you get to win that $500 coaching package, which is basically 3 services. You can either choose a month of email support, test analysis, or a 1-hour coaching session, or you can choose 3 1-hour coaching sessions. So you get to pick. So how you get your tickets. So when you buy my book, you get a ticket. So if you've already bought my book, you can just send me an email, send me a screenshot, whatever, you bought my book, and I will write a ticket for you. So just like screenshot your receipt. If you buy extra books, so if you want to gift my book to somebody, then you will get extra tickets. So when you bought your second book, you get 2 tickets for the second book, 3 tickets for the third book, 4 tickets for the 4th book. So you get more tickets. When you post an Amazon review, you get 5 tickets. If you share my book on social media, that can be your personal page, that could be in a group. You could share either share my book, you could share a picture of me with your book, whichever. If you share anytime, and you can do this as many times as you want, just note with Facebook algorithms, if you spam it on a multiple, like if you do it like 10 times in one day, it's not going to show and people are going to get really mad and they're going to unfriend you or unfollow you. So you like spamming is never a good thing, but whenever you share, you can just tag me in it, make sure you set it to public so I can see it, tag me in it, add a link to buy my book or put a photo of the book, whichever, and you get 2 tickets and I will put that in for the monthly draw. Audible reviews, 5 tickets, Goodreads review is 10 tickets. So Goodreads is something I've never heard of, but apparently it's really big in the literature world. And you have to go and create an account, which provides you with doing extra work. So if you do a Goodreads review, you can get 10 tickets. Barnes and Noble review, 5 tickets. So it's just helping me get to these goals. Because the more we get these reviews, the more we can share my book, the more people we can reach. Okay, and so I'm gonna check. And Cassie said, oh no, maybe I should go back to fluoride toothpaste. It definitely is a personal decision. Go for your regular yearly checkups and check to see if you have cavities. If you start to notice, and I do see this often with clients, they switch off the fluoride for the natural and they start to have more cavities. If you start to see that, then it's just something to consider. If you're okay with your teeth falling out, then that's fine too. Personally, it was a huge fear of mine, and I had to literally use. If you go into part 2 Mind, it has a section on Face Your Fears, and that's the process that I had to go through to really overcome losing all my teeth, because the pain was so bad. I told my body, I'm like, if you're not significantly better by December the 15th, then we're pulling our teeth in January 1st. Like the teeth are all coming out. I'm getting dentures, because if there's any chance that these bridges are pissing it off, like I'm just getting rid of my top teeth. And luckily it cleared up before that. But I went through that process, like literally the Face Your Fears section. I went through the process of visualizing and going through losing all my teeth. And that had been like, I used to have nightmares that I would lose my teeth as a kid, and I would wake up just drenched in sweat and crying. And I never wanted to get dentures, which now I'm totally okay with if I had to get dentures. But it was really going through that process and reliving it. And it's actually called adaptation in the brain. When you realize that you are going to go through something and you accept it and you come to a place of peace around it, your brain adapts and you get stronger. It's what leads to true resilience. Like so many people think people are resilient, but really it's just armor. They've been hardened. They're not allowing themselves to feel anything. So when you allow yourself to feel it, realize you're going to be okay, go through those emotions, then your brain comes to adaptation. And we can actually do that before it happens. So we can use our mindset training, we can use our visualization, we can use meditation to grow our brain. And it's literally growing fibers from our frontal lobe into our limbic system. And that is what integration is. That is what adaptation is just making your frontal lobe bigger and stronger so that when these stressful things happen in real life, you're like peaceful, chill. Yeah, so that's good. So we are right on time. It is 7:30. I am normally never on time with these things. I normally talk a lot. So let's do this. I have like 100 people sign up for this webinar. We definitely didn't get everybody logging in. So I'm going to pull a name and all the names are in here. If the person is here, they get the book. If the person is not here, then they don't get it. So let's see who we pick. You also have to wait for me. I'm going to order it for you. I really, when my book was ready for distribution, I should have ordered a bunch of books, but that's what happens sometimes when you stay present and you're not thinking about all the next steps. Things don't go as planned, but you're okay with them because you do mindset work and you just, it will all turn out well. Okay, so this is the name, Alex Catter something. Let me just check to see if this person is here. Hey, analysts, attendees. Okay. Are you here, Alex? Let's see. I know this person actually was the last person to register for the email. I mean, for the webinar. Alex, if you're here, please type that you are here. I think these are all in order, so I don't think he's here unless he's this number. No? Okay, well, I'm not seeing this person. Who's the number? 14802? Who are you? No, not listening. You can type in the chat. There's a chat little bubble somewhere. Well, I don't actually know what you guys are seeing. Oh, somebody raised their hand. I don't know what to do with that. Okay. Should I allow them to, if I click allow to talk, then maybe if they're not paying attention, we might eavesdrop on something. That might not be good. One total phone call in listener. Okay, so I'm going to pass on that name because I'm not hearing that you're here and I don't see your name. Anna, April, Ashley. No, I'm not seeing any other A's. That's nice of them to put in an alphabetical order. Okay, let's pick another name. This might take a while. Come on, be here. D. D. D, 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 D. Diana, no. Jacqueline, no. Okay, this person's not here either. Let's try again. Come on. Judith, you win. I think Judith is here, right? Yes, good. Only took 3. So you get it, Judith. I will order you a copy. You can just tell me which one you want, whether you want a hardcover or whether you want a paperback, and I will send you a signed copy. Yeah, congrats, Judith. So thank you guys all for coming. I'm going to post the contest details tomorrow. Really appreciate any help you guys can give me with this, sharing it, everything like that. And just remember, if you're participating in the contest, just send me like a screenshot or tag me, that sort of thing. If you review it, just send a screenshot. That would be awesome. And if everybody can review it, I will love you all so much. I got to get to 50 reviews. That's my goal, is getting those 50 reviews. So thank you guys all for joining me, and I hope you enjoy the book. And please send me your feedback on the book. It could be positive or negative. I can take both. And I just love to hear what you think of the book as you're reading it. So take care, everybody, and we will talk to you soon. I will be doing some TikToks and Facebook Lives and just being a lot more consistent and active because, hey, the book is done and I'm not spending all my free time writing it and editing it and listening to it and all that kind of stuff. So we'll see you. I love you lots. Bye.